She found the dying woman on a frozen bench while everyone else walked past. The single mom nurse had no idea she'd just saved the most dangerous man's mother. And now he won't let her walk away. The January wind cut through Mara's scrubs like a knife. She pushed through the staff exit of Manhattan General, her third double shift this week finally over. Her daughter Lily was waiting at her sister's apartment, probably already asleep, probably wondering again why Mommy worked so much. The guilt sat heavy in Mara's chest, but the bills didn't pay themselves. Single mothers didn't get the luxury of regular hours. The parking lot stretched before her, empty except for a few scattered cars under flickering lights. Steam rose from a subway grate near the hospital entrance. That's when she saw her. An old woman, sprawled across a wooden bench like discarded trash. Mara's feet stopped moving. She watched as two security guards walked past the bench, barely glancing down. One of them laughed at something on his phone. The other one shook his head and muttered something that sounded like another drunk. They kept walking. Mara's hands tightened around her bag. Not your problem, she told herself. You're off the clock. You've got a 6-year-old waiting for you. But her feet were already moving. As she got closer, details emerged through the dim streetlight. The woman wore an expensive coat, wool, camel-colored, the kind that cost more than Mara made in a month. But it was torn at the shoulder. Her gray hair was matted with something dark. Blood, maybe. Her face was turned toward the bench back, one arm hanging limp toward the frozen ground.
Mom.
Mara knelt beside her, knees hitting ice-cold concrete. Ma'am, can you hear me? Nothing. Mara pressed 2 fingers against the woman's neck, searching for a pulse. The skin was cold. Too cold. She pressed harder, adjusting her position.
There. Faint.
Barely there. Oh God, Mara's training kicked in before panic could. She grabbed her phone, dialed the ER desk. This is Mara Chen. I'm outside the main entrance. I need a gurney and a crash cart now. Elderly female, unresponsive, thready pulse. Mara, you're off duty, the nurse on the other end said. Call 911 and... I'm already at the hospital, Rachel. Get me a damn gurney. She dropped the phone. The woman's lips were blue. Mara tilted her head back, checked for breathing.
Nothing she could detect.
She positioned her hands over the woman's chest and started compressions. Come on, she whispered. Come on, stay with me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The rhythm was automatic now, muscle memory from 1,000 training sessions. 15.
16.
She bent down, gave 2 rescue breaths. The woman's chest rose and fell. Back to compressions. Where the hell is that gurney? 30 compressions. 2 breaths. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. Mara's arms burned. Sweat dripped down her temples despite the freezing air.
She didn't stop.
Finally, she heard wheels. Rachel burst through the doors with 2 orderlies and a gurney. Jesus, Mara, is she
alive?
Barely. Mara didn't stop compressions. On 3, we move her. They transferred the woman with practiced efficiency. The moment she was on the gurney, Mara jumped up beside her, continuing compressions as they wheeled her inside. The automatic doors whooshed open. Warmth hit her face. The fluorescent lights of the ER burned her eyes after the darkness outside. Trauma Bay 3. Rachel shouted. They burst through the doors. Doctors and nurses swarmed. Mara finally stepped back, her arms shaking, her scrubs soaked with sweat. I've got a pulse, someone called out. BP is 80/50. Get me a line now. Somebody page cardiology. Mara leaned against the wall, trying to catch her breath. Her hands were trembling. She watched through the glass as they worked, hooking up monitors, inserting IVs, cutting away the expensive coat. That's when she saw the bruises. Not just a few. The woman's torso was covered in them. Purple and yellow and green, different stages of healing. Someone had beaten this woman. Repeatedly. Oh my God, Mara whispered. The heart monitor beeped steadily. Weak, but steady. We've got her stabilized, Dr. Patel announced, pulling off his gloves. He looked at Mara through the glass and gave her a tired nod. She'd worked with him for 3 years. He was a good doctor.
Fair. Honest.
Mara walked back inside. The woman lay still on the bed, oxygen mask over her face. Her eyes were closed, but something about her face struck Mara as familiar. Not like she'd seen her before. More like
Dignity.
even unconscious and broken, there was something regal about her features. Who is she? Mara asked. Rachel checked the coat pockets. No ID.
No wallet.
Nothing. Check her coat label, Mara suggested. That's Burberry. Maybe we can. Nurse Chen. The voice came from behind her. Sharp. Official. Mara turned. A man in a gray suit stood in the doorway. Mr. Whitmore, one of the hospital administrators. The kind who usually stayed in his office counting money and avoiding actual patients. Mr. Whitmore, I was just... Step outside, please.
Now.
Something in his tone made her stomach drop. Rachel and Dr. Patel exchanged glances. Mara followed Whitmore into the hallway. He didn't stop walking until they were in a small conference room. He closed the door. You brought in an unidentified patient, he said. Yes, I found her outside. She was dying. And you performed CPR without knowing who she was. That's my job. Whitmore's jaw tightened. He looked at her for a long moment, then sighed. Miss Chun, I'm going to need you to step away from that patient. What? That patient is not your concern. I saved her life. And now I'm telling you to walk away. He moved closer, lowering his voice. That woman. There are complications. Legal complications. You don't want to be involved. Mara's heart pounded. What are you talking about? I'm talking about protecting your job. Your daughter. Your future. Whitmore's eyes were serious now, almost frightened. Whatever you think you're doing, stop. Don't register her case. Don't put your name anywhere near her file. Pretend you never saw her. I can't do that. You can and you will. Is this hospital policy now? Mara's voice rose. Let people die on our doorstep because of complications? Keep your voice down. The fire alarm in Trauma Bay 3 shrieked. Mara ran. Whitmore shouted behind her, but she didn't care. She burst through the doors. The woman was flatlining. She's crashing, Dr. Patel yelled. Get the paddles. Mara grabbed the defibrillator. Clear. The woman's body arched. The monitor stayed flat. Again. Clear. This time, the line jumped. Found rhythm. We've got her, Dr. Patel breathed. Jesus Christ, we've got her. The woman's eyes fluttered open. Just for a second. They were pale blue, confused, scared. They found Mara's face. Her lips moved behind the oxygen mask. No sound came out, but Mara could read the word.
Giovanni.
Then her eyes closed again. Mara stood frozen, the defibrillator paddles still in her hands. Outside the trauma bay window, she could see Whitmore talking urgently into his phone. His face was white. Rachel touched her arm. Mara, you okay? Yeah, Mara whispered. But she wasn't sure. Something had just changed. She could feel it. She looked down at the woman, at the bruises, the expensive coat now cut to pieces, the regal face now peaceful in unconsciousness. Who are you? Mara thought. And why was everyone so afraid? Mara stayed with the woman through the night. She told herself it was professional duty. Someone needed to monitor the patient's vitals, adjust the foredrip, watch for any changes. But the truth sat heavier. She couldn't shake the fear in Whitmore's eyes, or the way the woman had whispered that name like a prayer.
Giovanni.
At 3 a.m., Mara checked the monitor again. Heart rate steady at 72. Blood pressure improving. The bruises told a story of sustained abuse. Someone had hurt this woman over weeks, maybe months. The dehydration suggested she'd been left somewhere without food or water for days. Who did this to you? Mara whispered. The woman didn't answer. She hadn't regained consciousness since those few seconds in the trauma bay. Mara pulled out her phone and opened the hospital's patient registration system. Every person who came through these doors got a file. A record.
Rights.
She started typing. Unidentified elderly female. approximately 70 to 75 years old. Signs of prolonged physical abuse. Found unconscious outside Manhattan General at approximately 11:47 p.m. Don't. Mara jumped. Dr. Patel stood in the doorway, still in his scrubs from earlier. He looked exhausted. Don't what? Don't file that report. He walked in, closed the door behind him. Mara, I like you. You're a good nurse. One of the best I've worked with. So I'm going to give you advice you didn't ask for. Walk away from this patient. You too. Mara's voice cracked. What is going on? Why is everyone acting like saving a woman's life is a crime? Patel rubbed his face. I don't know. And that's exactly why you should walk away. Whitmore made 6 phone calls after you brought her in. 6. At midnight. To people I've never heard him talk to before. So, we just let her die? Is that what this hospital does now? No one's saying that. Then what are you saying? Patel met her eyes. I'm saying this woman has enemies. The kind who can make problems for people like us. You've got a daughter, Mara. Think about her. The words hit like a slap. Mara thought about Lily, her gap-toothed smile, her obsession with unicorns, the way she fell asleep holding Mara's hand. Everything Mara did was for her. But she looked at the woman in the bed, someone's mother, someone's daughter, and couldn't imagine walking away. I'm filing the report, Mara said quietly. Mara. She deserves to exist. Even if we don't know her name. Mara turned back to her phone. I'm documenting her injuries. I'm making sure she gets treatment. That's my job. Patel stared at her for a long moment. Then he sighed. You're going to regret this. He left. Mara finished the report and hit submit. The system processed for a moment, then flashed red. Access denied. Administrative override required. What? She tried again. Same message. Someone had locked her out. Someone had sealed this woman's file before it could even be created. Mara's hands shook. She'd worked at Manhattan General for 5 years. She'd never seen anything like this. The monitor beeped a warning. Mara's head snapped up. The woman's heart rate was climbing, 85, 92, 98. Her blood pressure spiked. No. Mara checked the 4-line. Everything looked normal. She pressed the call button. I need a doctor in here now. The woman's body started seizing. Mara grabbed the bed rails, turned her on her side. The seizure lasted 30 seconds, an eternity. When it stopped, the woman's breathing was ragged. Dr. Patel rushed in with Rachel. What happened? I don't know. She just started seizing. Patel checked the monitors, the medication log. His face went pale. Rachel, get me a talk screen.
Now.
What is it? Mara asked. Patel didn't answer. He drew blood, his hands moving with urgent precision. Rachel ran the sample to the lab. They waited in terrible silence. 10 minutes later, Rachel returned. Her face was white. Doctor, you need to see this. Patel looked at the results. He closed his eyes.
Jesus Christ.
What? Mara demanded. She's been poisoned. Patel's voice was hollow. Someone put something in her a cardiac suppressant. Slow acting. In another hour, her heart would have stopped, and we would have thought it was natural causes. The room tilted. Mara grabbed the counter. That's impossible. I've been here all night. No one came in except.
She stopped.
Dr. Morrison. He'd come in around 1 a.m., said he was checking on the patient. He was one of the specialists, always got called in for complex cases. Mara had stepped out to use the bathroom. Morrison, she whispered. Patel's jaw tightened. I'll handle this. You stay here. Don't let anyone near her. Anyone. He left at a run. Mara stood alone with the woman, her mind racing. Someone inside the hospital had tried to kill her patient. Someone wanted this woman dead badly enough to commit murder in a trauma bay. She looked at the monitors. The woman's vitals were stabilizing. Patel must have flushed the 4-line. Mara sank into a chair, suddenly aware of how deep the water had become. Outside the window, the sky was beginning to lighten. Dawn was coming, and with it, she suspected, something far worse than poison for lines and administrative overrides. The woman's hand twitched. Her lips moved. Mara leaned closer. Giovanni, the woman breathed again.
Tell.
Giovanni. Then footsteps echoed in the hallway. Many footsteps. Heavy. Purposeful.
Wrong.
Mara stood, her heart hammering. The footsteps stopped outside the door. The door didn't open. Mara held her breath, listening. The footsteps moved past security maybe, or orderlies changing shifts. She exhaled slowly, feeling foolish. The stress was getting to her. Then the power went out. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing everything in red. The monitor switched to battery backup with a sharp beep. What the hell? Mara moved to the door, peered through the window. The hallway was chaos. Nurses rushing, doctors shouting. Through the far window, she could see the parking lot. Her blood went cold. 5 black SUVs, arranged in a semicircle around the main entrance.
No lights. No sirens.
Just sitting there in the pre-dawn rain like sleeping predators. Rachel. Mara caught her coworker in the hallway. What's happening? I don't know. Security just told everyone to stay in their departments. They cut the main power. Rachel's eyes were wide. Mara, there are men coming in. They have guns. Call the police. Security already tried. Lines are down. Cell service too. It's like we're in a dead zone. Mara pulled out her phone. No signal. Just spinning circles where bars should be. She ran back to the trauma bay, locked the door. The woman lay unconscious, unaware that her world was collapsing. Mara grabbed the bed rails, started wheeling her toward the back exit. She made it 3 feet before the door burst open. 2 men in black suits. Not hospital security. These men wore leather gloves and earpieces. Their faces were blank, professional. One of them held up a hand. Stop. Mara stopped. Step away from the bed. I'm her nurse. She needs medical attention. Step away. More men filed in. They positioned themselves around the room like pieces on a chessboard. None of them looked at Mara. All of them watched the woman. The rain grew louder against the windows. Then he walked in. Mara knew immediately this was someone different. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her car. His dark hair was silver at the temples, his face carved from stone. He moved with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no in his entire life. But his hands were shaking. He walked past Mara like she was furniture, stood beside the bed, looked down at the woman's face. His breath caught.
Nganga.
His voice cracked on the word.
Mama, no.
No, this isn't. He dropped to his knees beside the bed. This powerful man in his expensive suit, kneeling on a hospital floor. He took the woman's hand with both of his, pressed it to his forehead. You're alive, he whispered. How are you alive? Mara watched frozen. The pieces were clicking together in her mind, forming a picture she didn't want to see.
Giovanni.
This was Giovanni. Sir, one of the men stepped forward. We need to move her.
Now.
This location is compromised. Giovanni didn't move. Didn't look up. Who found her? Silence. I asked a question. His voice was soft, but something in it made the temperature drop. Who found my mother? One of the men pointed at Mara. Giovanni stood, turned, looked at her for the first time. His eyes were the same pale blue as the woman's. But where hers held warmth, his held winter. He walked toward her. You touched her? Mara's throat was dry. She was dying. I'm a nurse. I did CPR. I brought her inside. You saved her life. It wasn't a question.
Mara nodded anyway.
Giovanni studied her face, looking for something.
Truth, maybe.
Or lies. After a long moment, he turned to his men. Get Dr. Castellano. Tell him to bring everything. We move her in 5 minutes. He looked back at Mara. You're coming with us.
What? No.
I have a daughter. I need to. You're coming with us, he repeated. Not a request. I'm not going anywhere. You can't just. He stepped closer. Not threatening, but absolute. Miss
Chun.
Mara Chun. Miss Chun. Someone put poison in my mother's for tonight. Someone in this hospital tried to kill her while she was unconscious and helpless. His jaw tightened. You're the only person who tried to save her. The only one who fought for her. Which means you're either the bravest nurse in New York, or you're the only one who doesn't know who she is. I don't know who she is, Mara said honestly. She had no ID. No one would tell me anything. Rosa De Luca, Giovanni's voice was soft. My mother's name is Rosa De Luca. And, until 6 hours ago, I thought she was dead. The name hit Mara like cold water.
De Luca.
She'd heard that name. Everyone in New York had heard that name, usually whispered, usually with fear. The De Lucas weren't just wealthy. They were powerful in ways that made wealthy people nervous. Oh God, Mara whispered. Now you understand, Giovanni nodded to his men. They began disconnecting Rosa from the hospital equipment, transferring her to portable monitors they'd brought. My mother has enemies, Miss Chen. People who want her dead. People who clearly have access to this hospital. I need someone I can trust. Someone who already proved they'll fight for her. I have a daughter. And I'll make sure she's safe.
Guarded.
Protected. You have my word, he met her eyes. But my mother dies without proper care, and right now, you're the only medical professional I trust not to murder her. The men lifted Rosa's gurney. Giovanni gestured to the door. After you. Mara looked at Rosa, at her peaceful face, at the monitors showing her steady heartbeat. She thought of Lily, of her apartment, of her normal, safe, predictable life. Then she thought of Rosa lying on that bench, dying alone while people walked past. Fine, Mara said. But I need to make a phone call.
No signals.
I'll have someone contact your family once we're secure, he tilted his head. We need to move.
Now.
Outside, the rain hammered down. Mara followed them into the storm. The hospital boardroom smelled like old coffee and fear. Mara sat in a leather chair that cost more than her monthly rent, surrounded by 5 hospital administrators who wouldn't meet her eyes. They'd pulled her into this meeting the moment Giovanni's convoy left, security practically dragging her from the parking lot before she could climb into one of those black SUVs. Mr. Whitmore sat at the head of the table, his face red. Do you have any idea what you've done? I saved a woman's life, Mara said evenly. You interfered with a situation far beyond your understanding. Dr. Morrison sat to Whitmore's right. The specialist who'd poisoned Rosa's for. He looked calm, comfortable, like he hadn't just attempted murder. That patient was flagged. You were told to stay away. Flagged by who? You? Mara leaned forward. I know what you did. Dr. Patel ran a talk screen. You put something in her 4-inch. Morrison's expression didn't change. I have no idea what you're talking about. The lab results. What lab results? Whitmore interrupted. There are no results, Miss Chen. That patient was never officially admitted. No file. No tests. No records. The room tilted. You erased everything. We protected this hospital, a woman in a navy suit said. She was new. Mara had never seen her before. From litigation. From complications. From the kind of attention that destroys institutions. She's a human being, Mara's voice rose. She was dying. And now she's gone, Whitmore folded his hands. Which is actually the only reason you're not being fired right now. The De Lucas took her. There's someone else's problem. Mara stood. I'm done here. Sit down, the woman in navy didn't raise her voice, but authority dripped from every word. We're not finished. I don't work for you. Actually, Miss Chen, after tonight you might not work for anyone, the woman opened a folder. Patient endangerment. Insubordination. Unauthorized treatment protocols. Failure to follow direct orders from hospital administration. Should I continue? You're threatening me? For saving someone's life. We're informing you of consequences. The woman's eyes were cold. This hospital has protocols. You violated all of them. Now we can make this messy. Investigations, board hearings, license reviews. Or we can make it clean. What does clean look like? You forget tonight happened. You never saw that woman. You never spoke to Giovanni De Luca. You go back to your regular shifts, Take care of your daughter and live your life. The woman leaned forward. Walk away, Miss Chen. While you still can. Mara looked around the table. These people, doctors, administrators, professionals, were terrified. Not of lawsuits or bad press. Of something deeper. Who are you? Mara asked the woman in navy. Someone who wants to keep you alive. The words hung in the air. The De Lucas don't forget debts, the woman continued. Good or bad. You saved Rosa's life. That makes you valuable to Giovanni. But it also makes you visible. And visibility in that world gets people killed. She needed help. And you gave it. Gold star for your compassion. Now be smart enough to survive it. The woman closed the folder. Take a week of paid leave. Think about your daughter. When you come back, we never have this conversation again. Whitmore nodded eagerly. Paid leave. Full benefits. We'll smooth everything over. Did he pay you? Mara asked quietly.
Morrison.
Did someone pay you to kill her? The room went silent. Morrison's jaw tightened. You should be very careful about accusations. Because they're true? Mara stood again. This time, no one stopped her. You people are scared. I get it. But that woman was left to die on a bench in the freezing cold. Someone beat her. Someone starved her. And when she finally got help, someone in this hospital tried to finish the job. She looked at each of them. I did my job. If that gets me fired, fine. But I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. She walked to the door. Miss Chun, the woman in navy's voice, stopped her. The people who want Rosa De Luca dead are not hospital administrators. They're not concerned with protocol or consequences. They're professionals. And they know your name now. Mara's hand froze on the doorknob. You think Giovanni De Luca is dangerous? He's a saint compared to the people hunting his mother. The woman stood. Take my advice. Go home. Pack a bag. Take your daughter somewhere safe. Because by saving Rosa's life, you painted a target on your own back. Then why didn't they kill me already? Because Giovanni got to you first. The woman walked closer. And now you're under his protection. Which means you're also under his control. Do you understand what that means? Mara didn't answer. It means you belong to him now. Whether you want to or not. Mara pulled open the door and walked out. Her legs felt weak. Her hands were shaking. She thought this was over. Bring Rosa inside. Stabilize her, move on. Simple.
Clean.
Nothing about this was simple. The hallway was empty. Dawn light filtered through the windows. Normal people were starting normal shifts, drinking normal coffee, living normal lives. Mara pulled out her phone. Still no signal. She walked toward the exit, mind racing. She needed to get to Lily. Needed to make sure she was safe. Needed to. A man in a black suit stood by the doors. He nodded to her. Miss Jen. Mr. De Luca is waiting. I need to go home. He thought you might say that. The man held up a phone. On the screen was a photo of Lily, asleep in her bed at Mara's sister's apartment. Your daughter is safe. We have people watching her. Mr. De Luca wanted you to know that. The message was clear. We know where she is. Protection or threat? Maybe both. Where is he? Mara asked quietly. The man smiled. Follow me. The elevator descended for what felt like forever. Mara counted the floors, basement level 1, 2, 3. Then the numbers disappeared. They kept going down. The man in the suit stood silent beside her, hands folded, eyes forward. Where are we? Mara asked. Safe. That was all he said. The elevator finally stopped. The doors opened onto something impossible. It looked like a hospital wing, pristine white floors, state-of-the-art equipment, private rooms with glass walls. But it was underground, beneath a building that looked abandoned from the street. The De Luca Hotel, she'd heard the driver say. Under renovation for 5 years now. Giovanni stood in the center corridor, phone pressed to his ear. He spoke in rapid Italian, his voice low and hard. When he saw Mara, he ended the call. Miss Chen. Good, he gestured around. This is where my mother will recover. We have doctors, equipment, everything she needs. What we need is a nurse who gives a damn if she lives or dies. You can't kidnap me. I didn't kidnap you. I offered you a choice. Giovanni's eyes were calm. You can leave right now. Walk out. Go home to your daughter. I'll even have someone drive you. But my mother's enemies won't stop coming. And they'll remember the nurse who saved her life when everyone else turned away. Mara's throat tightened. You're saying I'm not safe. I'm saying the world changed for you the moment you knelt on that bench. Giovanni walked toward a glass room where Rosa lay connected to machines, 3 doctors working around her. In my world, loyalty means everything. You showed loyalty to a stranger. That's rare, valuable, but it also makes you a liability to people who want my mother dead. So I work for you now? Is that it? You work for her, Giovanni nodded toward Rosa. I'll pay you triple your hospital salary. Your daughter will have protection, not threats, actual protection. And when my mother is well enough to move, you can walk away with enough money to start over somewhere safe. And if I say no, Giovanni turned to look at her. Then you walk away now, and I pray my enemies are merciful. But they won't be, Miss Chen. I know these people. They don't leave loose ends. A doctor emerged from Rosa's room, older, gray-haired, with careful eyes. Giovanni, we need to talk. They stepped aside. Mara couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw Giovanni's face darken. His hands formed fists. He came back looking 10 years older. My mother is stable, but weak. The poison damaged her heart. The doctors say she needs constant monitoring for the next 72 hours minimum, he paused. They also found evidence of prolonged captivity, malnutrition, dehydration, repeated trauma. Who did this to her? Mara asked. That's what I intend to find out. Giovanni's voice was ice. My mother disappeared 3 years ago. There was an internal war, a coup attempt. Blood everywhere. Her car was found burned. I buried an empty coffin because there was nothing left to bury. He looked through the glass at Rosa. Everyone told me she was dead. I believed them. I had to believe them. But she wasn't. Someone kept her alive. Imprisoned her. Tortured her, his jaw worked. Someone wanted her to suffer. And now someone wants to finish what they started. Mara watched Rosa through the glass, this woman who'd been reduced to bruises and broken bones, yet still clung to life. What did she do? Before all this, she built hospitals, funded schools, fed half the poor neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Giovanni's voice softened. My father built his empire on violence. My mother built hers on compassion. She thought she could change what we were, make us legitimate, clean. And you. I became what I needed to be to survive. He met her eyes. But she never stopped hoping I'd be something better. An alarm shrieked from Rosa's room. Doctors rushed in.
Giovanni ran.
Mara followed on instinct. Rosa was seizing again, her body rigid, monitors screaming. What happened? Giovanni shouted. I don't know. She was stable. The gray-haired doctor checked the 4-line, his face going pale. Oh God. What? Mara pushed forward. The doctor pointed at the 4 bag. A small puncture mark near the top. Almost invisible. Someone tampered with it, he whispered. Again. The room went silent except for Rosa's labored breathing. The seizure was subsiding, but her vitals were crashing. Giovanni's voice was deadly quiet. Everyone out.
Now.
The doctors fled. Only Mara and Giovanni remained. He walked slowly to the 4 stand, studied the bag, the tubing, every connection. Then he turned to the gray-haired doctor who'd stayed in the doorway. Dr. Castellano. You've been with my family for 20 years. Giovanni, I would never. Then who? Giovanni's voice didn't rise, but something in it made Mara's skin crawl. My mother is underground, in a facility known to less than 20 people. And somehow, someone poisoned her for the second time in 6 hours. Castellano's hands shook. I don't know. I swear, I don't know. Then find out. Giovanni stepped closer. Because if she dies from poison in a facility I control, everyone involved dies with her. Everyone. The threat hung in the air. Castellano nodded and fled. Giovanni stood alone by his mother's bed, this powerful man suddenly looking lost. He reached for Rosa's hand, held it gently. Mama, he whispered in Italian. Who did this to you? Tell me who. Rose's eyes fluttered. Her lips moved. Mara stepped closer, straining to hear. Family, Rosa breathed. Inside. The family. Giovanni's face went white. Someone in your organization? Mara asked. Worse, Giovanni's voice was hollow. Someone in my blood. Mara spent the next hour systematically checking every piece of equipment in Rose's room. She examined 4 bags against the light, searching for puncture marks. She tested fluids with strips from her emergency kit. She documented every medication, every dose, every person who touched anything near Rose's bed. Giovanni watched from the doorway, silent. This one. Mara held up a 4-bag labeled saline. There's a microscopic hole here. See it. Giovanni moved closer. His jaw tightened. How much got in? Not much. Maybe a few milliliters before I caught it. Mara set the bag aside carefully. But mixed with the poison from the hospital, it's enough to cause serious damage. Her heart is already weak. Can you flush it out? Dr. Castellano is trying. But Giovanni. Mara turned to face him. Someone prepared this bag. Someone knew exactly what they were doing. This isn't amateur hour.
No.
It's not. Giovanni pulled out his phone, made a call. Bring me everyone who entered the facility in the last 12 hours. Everyone. I don't care who they are. He ended the call and looked at Rosa, who was sleeping now, her breathing steadier but still fragile. My father taught me something, Giovanni said quietly. Trust is a weakness. Love is a weapon people use against you. So I built walls. I kept everyone at a distance. He paused. Everyone except her. She was the one person I never doubted. And now she tells me the enemy is family. Which means everyone is suspect. He turned to Mara. Including the doctors I've paid for 20 years. The guards I've trusted with my life. The cousins I grew up with. Mara checked Rose's vitals again. Heart rate stable at 68. Blood pressure holding. She's stronger than she looks. She always has been. Giovanni's voice carried something Mara hadn't heard before, pride mixed with pain. When my father died, there were 12 men who wanted his throne. She backed me. A 26-year-old kid with more anger than sense. She stood in a room full of killers and told them I was the future. He laughed bitterly. They tried to kill her for it. Multiple times. She never blinked. So, someone finally succeeded. Someone made it look like they succeeded. Giovanni's eyes hardened. The question is why? Why keep her alive for 3 years? Why torture her instead of just putting a bullet in her head? Mara thought about it. Information? Maybe they wanted something from her. My mother doesn't break. Ever. Giovanni shook his head. No, this was personal. Someone wanted her to suffer. Wanted her to watch her son become everything she feared, thinking she'd failed. The door burst open. 4 men in suits dragged in a younger man, mid-30s, wearing hospital scrubs, struggling against their grip. Mr. De Luca, one of the suits, spoke. We found him in the medication supply room. He had these. The suit held up 3 vials of clear liquid. Giovanni took one, examined the label. His face went cold. Cardiac suppressant. Same drug from the hospital. The young man in scrubs went pale. I can explain. Then explain. Giovanni's voice was soft. Dangerous. I was told. Someone said Mrs. De Luca needed pain management, that her heart couldn't handle standard medications, that I should prepare a specialized dose. Who told you? I don't know his name. He was wearing a suit, said he was one of your advisors. He had clearance. Giovanni grabbed the man by the throat, slammed him against the wall. What did he look like?
Tall.
Dark hair. Scar above his left eye. The words tumbled out in a panic. Please, I didn't know. I thought I was helping. Giovanni released him. The man crumpled to the floor, gasping. Marco. Giovanni spoke the name like a curse. My cousin Marco. The room temperature seemed to drop. Where is he? Giovanni asked his men. Not in the facility, sir. He left 2 hours ago. Said he had business uptown. Find him. Bring him to me. Alive. Giovanni's voice was steel. I want to look him in the eyes when I ask why he tried to murder my mother. The men dragged the younger man out. His protests echoed down the hallway until a door slammed shut. Mara's hands were shaking. She'd just watched Giovanni nearly kill someone with his bare hands. This was the world she'd stepped into, where answers came through violence, where family meant nothing against ambition. You should leave, Giovanni said, not looking at her. Go back to your daughter. This is about to get ugly. Rosa still needs care. I'll find another nurse. You trusted the last specialists. Look how that worked out. Mara moved to Rosa's bedside, adjusted the fresh four-line sheet hung. You need someone who isn't part of your world. Someone who doesn't have a reason to hurt her. Giovanni studied her. You're either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both. Mara met his eyes. But I started this. I'm not walking away while she's still in danger. She'll always be in danger. As long as someone stands to gain from her death. Then I guess I'm staying a while. Something shifted in Giovanni's expression. Not quite gratitude, but recognition. Like he was seeing her clearly for the first time. My mother believed in redemption, he said quietly.
She thought people could change.
That monsters could become human again. He looked at Rosa's peaceful face. I never believed her. But she never stopped trying. Maybe that's why someone wanted her gone, Mara said. People like her are dangerous to people like them. Giovanni's phone buzzed. He answered, listened, his face darkening. When? A pause. Show me. He hung up and looked at Mara. They found Marco.
Dead.
Single gunshot to the head. Professional hit. Someone's cleaning up, Mara whispered. Someone's covering their tracks. Giovanni's eyes were ice. Which means the person behind this is still here. Still close. And they're not finished. The safe house felt like a cage. Giovanni had moved them at dawn. Rosa, Mara, and a skeleton crew of guards he personally trusted. They drove for 2 hours in armored vehicles, switching cars twice, taking routes that doubled back and looped around until Mara lost all sense of direction. Now they sat in a renovated warehouse in Queens, industrial and isolated, while Rosa slept in what used to be a foreman's office. Mara hadn't slept in 36 hours. Her eyes burned. Her body ached. But every time she tried to rest, she saw that young man's face when Giovanni grabbed his throat. Heard Marco's name spoken like a death sentence. She checked Rosa's vitals for the 100th time. Still stable. The poison was clearing her system. Her body was healing. But healing from what, exactly? Giovanni sat in a metal folding chair across the room, staring at nothing. He hadn't spoken in hours. Hadn't moved except to answer phone calls in clipped, harsh Italian. You should eat something, Mara said. He didn't respond. Giovanni. I killed her. His voice was hollow. Everyone said I did. After she disappeared. After the car burned. They all believed I murdered my own mother to take power. Mara stopped adjusting Rosa's blanket. But you didn't. I might as well have. Giovanni finally looked at her. His eyes were empty. I was supposed to protect her. Instead, I let her vanish. Let someone take her, torture her, keep her prisoner for 3 years. And the whole time, I was building my empire on the rumor that I was cold enough to kill her. You thought she was dead. Did I? Giovanni's laugh was bitter. Or did I just accept it because it made things easier? No more lectures about going legitimate. No more disappointed looks. No more conscience. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, Miss Jun. Giovanni stood, paced. My mother sacrificed everything to keep me from becoming my father. She fought the family, risked her life, all to give me a choice. And I chose power. I chose blood. He stopped at the window, stared out at the empty street. When she disappeared, part of me was relieved. I could finally stop pretending I was anything other than what I am. Mara watched him, this dangerous man crumbling under the weight of his own guilt. What are you? She asked quietly. Giovanni turned. A killer. A criminal. Everything she feared I'd become. You're also the man who's spent the last 48 hours trying to save her life. Because I owe her. Or because you love her. Mara stood. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. Giovanni's jaw tightened. Love is what got her taken. Someone knew. They knew she was my weakness. So they used her. Made her disappear. Let me think I'd lost her. And while I was busy drowning in guilt and rage, they positioned themselves to take everything.
Who?
That's what I can't figure out. Giovanni pulled out his phone, showed Mara a photo. 5 men in suits, standing behind an older man who looked like Giovanni but harder, crueler. This was taken 6 months before my father died. That's him in the center. These are his lieutenants, his most trusted advisors. Mara studied the faces. Which one tried to kill Rosa? That's the problem. Marco, the cousin I suspected, he was just an errand boy. Small time. Someone used him, then disposed of him. Giovanni swiped to another photo.
These 3 are dead now.
Killed during the coup 3 years ago. That leaves 2-inch. He pointed to a tall man with salt and pepper hair.
Vincent Russo.
My uncle. He married my father's sister. Took over operations in New Jersey after the coup. He cried at my mother's funeral. Then to a younger man with cold eyes. And Anthony Greco. My father's godson. Now runs everything south of Canal Street. He gave the eulogy. So one of them is lying. Both of them are lying. Question is which one is lying about wanting my mother dead. Giovanni pocketed his phone. Vincent stood to gain territory if I fell apart after her death. Anthony stood to gain trust if he consolidated power while I was weak. Could they be working together? In my world? Unlikely. But not impossible. Giovanni rubbed his face. I've been so focused on external threats, rival families, federal investigations, that I missed the rot inside my own house. A soft sound made them both turn. Rosa's eyes were open. Mara rushed to her side.
Rosa?
Can you hear me? Water. Her voice was barely a whisper. Mara held a cup to her lips, helped her sip slowly. Rosa's hand trembled as she reached up, touched Mara's face. You, Rosa whispered. The girl from the bench.
Yes. I'm Mara.
I'm your nurse.
You
saved me. We saved you. Mara glanced at Giovanni. Both of us. Rosa's eyes found her son. Something complicated passed over her face. Love, pain, relief, disappointment, all tangled together. Giovanni, she tried to sit up. Mara gently stopped her. Mama, don't move. You're still weak. Giovanni knelt beside the bed, took her hand. His voice broke. I thought you were dead. For 3 years, I thought. I know what you thought. Rosa's words were slow, deliberate. I know what they said
about you.
It was lies. All of it. I never. But you believed them, didn't you? Rosa's eyes searched his face. Part of you believed you were capable of killing me. Giovanni flinched like she'd slapped him. That's what they wanted, Rosa continued. Someone wanted you to become a monster. Wanted you to believe you already were 1-inch. Who, Mama? Who did this? Rosa's grip tightened on his hand. Vincent and Anthony. They came to me before the fire. They said they needed to remove me to save you. Said I was making you weak. Giovanni's face went white. Both of them together. Rosa's breathing was labored. They said your father would have wanted a son who ruled through fear, not mercy. So they staged your death. They staged my death. But I didn't die. Rosa closed her eyes. I escaped, fought back. So they locked me away, where no one would find me, waiting for the right moment to finish it. Where? Giovanni's voice was steel. Where did they keep you? Rosa's eyes opened. She looked directly at her son. In your father's house, she whispered. I was there. The whole time. The explosion came at dawn. Mara jerked awake in the chair beside Rosa's bed, heart hammering. Through the reinforced windows, she saw smoke rising from somewhere in Manhattan. Giovanni was already on his phone, his face grim. How many? A pause.
Jesus Christ.
He ended the call and looked at Mara. Manhattan General. Someone hit it with a car bomb. Trauma wing is gone. Mara's blood went cold. Rachel. Dr. Patel. All those people are being evacuated. No casualties yet, but the building's unstable. Giovanni's phone rang again. He answered, listened, his expression darkening. When? Show me. He pulled up something on his tablet, turned it so Mara could see. Security footage from Manhattan General, men in tactical gear storming through hallways, smashing computer terminals, shooting out security cameras. They hit the administrative offices, Giovanni said. Patient records. Billing systems. Everything. They're looking for Rosa's file. They're erasing evidence. Giovanni zoomed in on one of the men. Professional military contractors. The kind you hire when you want something done clean. Mara watched the footage with growing horror. These men moved through the hospital like it was a war zone, terrorizing staff, destroying years of records. This is my fault, she whispered. I filed that report. I tried to register her case. They're destroying the hospital because of me. No, Giovanni's voice was hard. They're destroying it because someone is desperate. Rosa knows the truth. She can expose them. So they're burning everything connected to her, witnesses, records, trails. The hospital staff saw me bring her in. They know my name.
Yes.
They do. Giovanni met her eyes. Which is why her coworkers are being questioned by federal agents right now. Mara stood. What? FBI showed up 20 minutes after the explosion.
Asking about you.
About the unidentified patient. About your connection to the De Luca family. He paused. Someone tipped them off. Someone wants you to look guilty. Guilty of what? Pick a charge. Conspiracy. Obstruction. Aiding organized crime. Giovanni pulled up another screen, a federal warrant with Mara's name on it. They're building a case. Painting you as my inside source at the hospital. Mara's legs went weak. She sat down hard. This can't be happening. It's a frame. Classic misdirection. Giovanni closed the tablet. While everyone's looking at you, the real players stay hidden. Vincent and Anthony. They've had 3 years to cover their tracks. To build alibis. To position themselves. Giovanni's jaw tightened. And they've had access to my father's old connections. Judges, politicians, federal agents. People who owe favors. Rosa stirred in the bed. Her eyes opened, focused on Giovanni.
There.
Panicking. Mama, rest. No, Rosa's voice was stronger today. They're panicking. Because I'm alive. Because their plan failed. What was their plan? Mara asked. Rosa struggled to sit up. Mara helped her, adjusting pillows. When Rosa spoke again, her words were clearer. They wanted Giovanni to fall apart. To make mistakes. To give them reason to remove him. She looked at her son. But you didn't fall apart. You got harder. Colder. More effective. So, they kept you alive as insurance, Giovanni said slowly. In case they needed to produce your body later. Or produce me alive. Rosa touched his face. Imagine, Giovanni De Luca's mother, returning from the dead, claiming he imprisoned her, tortured her. The evidence was already there. The rumors. Everyone would believe it. Mara's mind raced. But then I found you, brought you to the hospital, documented your injuries. That threw off their whole plan. Exactly, Giovanni paced. They couldn't control the narrative anymore. Too many witnesses. Too much evidence. So they pivoted, poison you in the hospital, blame it on natural causes, problem solved. But I saved her, Mara whispered. Again. So they tried to poison her here. When that failed, they killed Marco to cover their tracks. Giovanni stopped pacing. Now they're in cleanup mode. Destroy the hospital records. Intimidate the witnesses. Frame the nurse. And if they're very lucky, Rosa dies before she can testify. Testify to who? Mara asked. You said they own judges, politicians, federal agents. Not all of them. Giovanni pulled out his phone. There's one prosecutor, Sarah Chen. She's been trying to build a RICO case against the family for 5 years.
Clean.
Incorruptible. If I give her Rosa, she can protect her. Put her in witness protection. get her testimony, and destroy your organization in the process, Mara said. Giovanni met her eyes.
Yes.
The room went silent. You do that? Mara asked. Sacrifice everything. I already sacrificed everything. Giovanni looked at Rosa. 3 years ago, when I thought she was dead, I became exactly what they wanted. A monster without conscience. I built my empire on fear and blood, he paused. But she's alive, which means I still have a choice. Giovanni, Rosa started.
No, Mama. You were right.
About all of it. Giovanni knelt beside her bed. I can't undo what I've become. But I can make sure the men who did this to you don't win. Even if it costs me everything. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. She touched his face. You're still my son. I'm still your son. Giovanni kissed her hand. Which means I'm going to do something monumentally stupid and probably suicidal. What? Mara asked. I'm going to invite Vincent and Anthony to dinner. Giovanni's smile was cold. Tell them you're recovering. Tell them they won. And when they think they're safe, when they think they've gotten away with it, you're going to get them to confess, Mara finished. I'm going to get them to destroy each other. Giovanni stood. But first, I need to get you out of here. What about Rosa? She stays with me. Protected. Hidden. He looked at Mara. But you need to disappear. The FBI will be at your apartment within hours. Your sister's place too. My daughter is already gone. Giovanni held up his phone. A photo of Lily, safe and smiling, coloring at a table in an unfamiliar kitchen. My people moved her this morning. Somewhere clean. Somewhere safe. Mara's heart clenched. Where? Better you don't know. Yet Giovanni's eyes softened slightly. I promise to protect her. I keep my promises. What do? Vanish. For 72 hours. Long enough for me to finish this. Giovanni handed her an envelope. Cash, IDs, phone number to reach your daughter. When it's over, you get her back and disappear for real. New city. New life. Clean. Mara took the envelope with shaking hands. Outside, sirens wailed. Manhattan General was burning. Her life was burning with it. What if they find me first? She asked. Giovanni's smile was sharp and terrible. Then they'll wish they hadn't. The Hudson estate sat on 2 acres of protected riverfront, hidden behind walls and trees that had been growing since before the city swallowed the land around it. Mara watched through bulletproof windows as dawn painted the water gold. She'd been here for 18 hours, locked in a guest room that was nicer than any place she'd ever lived.
Silk sheets.
Marble bathroom. A view that probably cost more per month than her annual salary. But it was still a cage. A knock on the door. Miss Jen? Mr. DeLuca is moving Mrs. DeLuca. He thought you'd want to be present. Mara opened the door. A woman in her 60s stood there, gray hair in a neat bun, kind eyes, wearing a simple black dress. Not a guard. Not a gangster. Something else. I'm Elena, the woman said. I've worked for the DeLuca family for 30 years. Helped raise Giovanni after his father died. She smiled softly. Rosa was my friend. I'm glad she's alive. You thought she was dead too? Everyone did. Elena's smile faded. I cried for months. The house felt empty without her. She had a way of making even the darkest places feel like home. They walked through hallways lined with art that probably belonged in museums. The estate was beautiful in a cold, perfect way, like a photograph of a house rather than an actual home. Rosa's new room faced the river. Medical equipment lined the walls, monitors for stands, everything she needed. But there were also flowers. Fresh roses in crystal vases. Photos on the nightstand. A handmade quilt folded at the foot of the bed. Elena's work, Giovanni said from the doorway. She insisted. Rosa sat in a wheelchair by the window, a blanket over her legs. She looked stronger today. Color in her cheeks. Her eyes clear and focused. Mara, Rosa reached out.
Come.
Sit with me. Mara pulled up a chair. Giovanni stood nearby, arms crossed, watching the grounds through the window. This place, Rosa said quietly. I used to love it here. We bought it when Giovanni was 10. thought we could give him something normal. A yard. Trees. Space away from the city. What happened? Mara asked. Life happened. His father died. Giovanni inherited an empire built on blood. Rosa looked at her son. And I tried to change it. Tried to make him see there was another way. You wanted him to go legitimate. I wanted him to be free. Rosa's voice carried old pain. His father trapped him in this life before he was born. Made choices that defined Giovanni's future before he could walk. I thought if I showed him a different path. But he chose this one, Mara said gently. Did he choose? Rosa looked up at Giovanni. Or did Vincent and Anthony make sure he had no other option? Giovanni turned from the window. What do you mean? Rosa's hands trembled. Elena appeared with tea, helped her drink. When Rosa spoke again, her voice was steadier. 6 months before I disappeared, I made a deal. With prosecutors. Federal agents, she paused. I was going to testify. Against the family. Against everyone. Giovanni's face went white.
Mana.
I thought I could save you. If I dismantled everything your father built, you'd be free to choose your own path. No empire to inherit. No blood legacy. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. I was going to burn it all down. Vincent and Anthony found out, Mara said. They found out. And they knew if I testified, everything collapsed. Not just Giovanni's empire, everyone's. All the families. All the old connections. Rosa reached for her son's hand. So they made me disappear. Staged my death. And let you believe you were responsible. To control me, Giovanni said quietly. To own you. They couldn't kill you. Too much respect for your father. But they could manipulate you. Shape you. Turn you into the weapon they needed. And it worked. Giovanni's voice was hollow. I became everything you feared. No, Rosa gripped his hand harder. You became what they made you. But you're still my son. Still the boy who cried when we had to leave the old neighborhood. Who helped me cook dinner for homeless families. Who wanted to be a teacher before your father died. Giovanni pulled his hand away. That boy is dead, Mama. Is he? Rosa gestured to Mara. Then why did you protect her? Why did you save her daughter? Why are you risking everything to keep me alive? Because I owe you. Because you still have a conscience. Rosa's voice rose, stronger than Mara had heard it. Because 3 years of torture didn't break me, and 3 years of guilt didn't break you. The room fell silent except for the monitors beeping steadily. A door opened downstairs. Footsteps. Elena appeared in the doorway. Giovanni, there's someone here to see Mrs. DeLuca. He says it's urgent. Who? Dr. Marcus Holloway. He says he's an old friend. Rosa's face transformed. Marcus? He's alive. You know him? Giovanni asked. He was my doctor. My friend. 25 years. Rosa gripped the wheelchair arms, trying to stand. He disappeared the same time I did. I thought Vincent and Anthony killed him. They tried. An older black man appeared in the doorway, leaning on a cane. He was thin, scarred, but his eyes were sharp and kind. But I'm harder to kill than they expected. Marcus. Rosa's voice broke. The doctor crossed the room, knelt beside her wheelchair, took her hands.
Rosa.
Thank God. When I heard you were alive. Where have you been?
Hiding.
Running. Same as you. Marcus looked up at Giovanni. I'm sorry I couldn't protect her. That night, they came to my office. Said they needed me to sign death certificates. When I refused, he touched a scar on his neck. I barely escaped. You've been alive for 3 years and never contacted me? Giovanni's voice was cold. I was afraid. They made it clear, anyone who helped Rosa would die. I thought staying hidden was the only way to survive. Marcus looked back at Rosa. But when I heard she was found, that she was alive, I had to come. Had to make sure she was okay. Rosa touched his face. You're here now. That's what matters. But Mara saw something in Marcus's eyes. Something that made her stomach tighten. How did you know she was alive? Mara asked. It wasn't on the news. Giovanni kept it quiet. Marcus smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I have friends. People who owe me favors. What friends? Giovanni stepped closer. Giovanni, don't. Rosa started. Answer the question, doctor. Marcus stood slowly. Friends in the family. People who wanted me to know Rosa survived. The temperature in the room dropped. Who? Giovanni's hand moved to his waist. To a gun Mara hadn't noticed. Marcus met his eyes. Vincent and Anthony. They sent me to finish what they started. Giovanni had his gun out before Marcus finished speaking. Don't move. Marcus raised his hand slowly, still holding his cane. Giovanni, wait. You just admitted you're here to kill my mother. No, Marcus's voice was calm, steady. I said they sent me to finish it. I didn't say I agreed. Then why tell us? Mara moved in front of Rosa's wheelchair instinctively. Because I'm tired of running. Tired of being their puppet, Marcus looked at Rosa. They told me if I didn't do this, they'd kill my daughter. My grandchildren. They have photos. Addresses. Everything. Rosa's face crumpled. Marcus, no. You should have stayed hidden. So, they could use me forever? So, I could live knowing I let them kill you. Marcus shook his head. I already failed you once. I won't fail you again. This could be a trick, Giovanni said. A way to get close to her. It could be. Marcus lowered his hands slowly, reached into his jacket. Giovanni's gun tracked the movement. But if I wanted to kill her, I'd have done it already. Instead, I brought you this. He pulled out a small recording device and set it on the table. What is that? Giovanni asked. Insurance. Evidence. Proof. Marcus pressed play. Vincent's voice filled the room. The old bitch should have stayed dead. 3 years we kept her locked up, and she still won't break. Anthony's voice responded. So we kill her now. Stage it clean. Natural causes. Giovanni will never know. What about the nurse? She saw everything. Frame her. Make it look like she's been working with the Russians or the Chinese, whoever. The feds will handle the rest. And if Giovanni figures it out. A pause. Then Vincent laughed. Then we remove him too. We've been patient long enough. It's time to take what's ours. The recording ended. Giovanni stood frozen, his face carved from stone. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. When was this recorded? 2 days ago. Private meeting in Vincent's office. Marcus pocketed the device. I've been recording them for months. Everything. Every plan. Every order.
Why?
Because they forced me to sign Rosa's death certificate 3 years ago. Made me lie about her autopsy. They turned me into an accomplice. Marcus's jaw tightened. I couldn't go to the police. Half of them are on Vincent's payroll.
Couldn't go to you. You thought I was dead.
So I collected evidence. Waited for the right moment. And that moment is now. Mara asked. That moment is tonight. Marcus looked at Giovanni. They're coming here. Vincent, Anthony, and 6 of their men. They think I'm inside, preparing Rosa's body. They're going to walk in, verify she's dead, and kill anyone who knows the truth. Including you, Rosa whispered. Including me, Marcus smiled sadly. Loose ends, right? Giovanni lowered his gun. What time? 9 p.m.
Dinner meeting, they called it.
A celebration of loyalty. Marcus's voice dripped with bitterness. They're bringing wives, cousins, the whole family. Want to make it look legitimate. Giovanni checked his watch. That's in 4 hours. 4 hours to prepare. Marcus pulled out his phone, showed Giovanni a floor plan. I can help. I know their plan. Know where they'll position their men. Know which exits they'll cover. Or you're setting a trap for us, Giovanni said. Possibly. Marcus met his eyes. But ask yourself, if I wanted to trap you, why give you this warning? Why not just let them walk in and kill everyone? Giovanni studied him for a long moment. Then he turned to Mara. Take my mother to the panic room. 3rd floor, behind the library. Elena will show you. Lock yourselves inside, and don't come out until I get you. What are you going to do? Mara asked. What I should have done 3 years ago. Giovanni's voice was ice. End this. Giovanni, no. Rosa reached for him. This is what they want. They want you to become the monster. To prove their lies were true.
Mana.
Listen to me. Rosa gripped his hand with surprising strength. You said you still had a choice. So choose. Not violence. Not blood. Choose justice. There is no justice for people like us. There is if you're brave enough to take it. Rosa looked at Marcus. You have recordings. Evidence. That prosecutor, Sarah Chun, she could use this. Build a real case. Put them away legally. They'd kill her first, Giovanni said. And everyone she loves. Not if they're already in custody. Marcus pulled out his phone again. I've been in contact with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Anonymous tips, leaked documents. They've been building a parallel investigation. All they need is someone willing to testify. And that someone is you? Giovanni asked. And Rosa. And you, if you're willing. Marcus pocketed his phone. We can end this tonight. Not with bullets. With truth. Giovanni laughed bitterly. You want me to trust the federal government? The same people who've been trying to destroy my family for 30 years. I want you to trust me. Rosa pulled Giovanni down until they were eye to eye. I want you to choose the man I know you can be, not the man they made you. Footsteps echoed downstairs. Running.
Urgent.
One of Giovanni's guards burst through the door. Sir, we have a problem. Cars approaching. Multiple vehicles. They're early. Giovanni's face went cold. How many?
10.
Maybe 12. Armed. Vincent and Anthony. Leading the convoy. Marcus stepped back. They moved the timeline. Someone must have told them I was here. Or you told them. Giovanni raised his gun again. I swear. An explosion rocked the house. Windows shattered. Alarms shrieked. They're breaching the south entrance, the guard shouted. Gunfire erupted downstairs. Shouting. Screaming. Giovanni grabbed Mara. Get her to the panic room.
Now.
What about you?
Rosa cried.
Buying you time. Giovanni kissed her forehead. I love you, Mama. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough before. Giovanni. But he was already gone, running toward the gunfire. Marcus helped Mara lift Rosa into her wheelchair. Elena appeared, face pale. This way. Quickly. They ran through hallways as the battle raged below. Mara's heart hammered. This was insane. This was... A man stepped out of a side room.
Young. Familiar.
One of Giovanni's cousins from the photos. He raised a gun. I'm sorry, he said. They have my sister. They said if I didn't. Marcus swung his cane. It connected with the man's wrist. The gun clattered away. Run, Marcus shouted. They ran. The panic room door sealed with a heavy thunk that made Mara's ears pop. Silence. Absolute and terrifying. Rosa sat in her wheelchair, breathing hard. Elena locked the reinforced steel door and activated monitors showing different angles of the estate. Screens flickered to life, hallways, grounds, the main entrance, all showing chaos. Men in tactical gear swarmed through rooms. Giovanni's guards fought back, outnumbered but trained. Bodies fell. Blood splattered pristine, white walls. Where's Giovanni? Rosa's voice cracked. Mara scanned the screens. There, near the main staircase. Giovanni moved like water, smooth and lethal. 2 men down before they registered his presence. Another caught with a precise shot. But there were too many. He can't hold them off alone, Mara whispered. He's not alone. Elena pointed to another screen. Marcus had grabbed a fallen guard's weapon, was providing cover fire from the second-floor balcony. Dr. Holloway was always braver than he looked. Vincent's voice crackled through speakers. He'd found the intercom system. Giovanni. Nephew. Let's talk like family. Come out, and we'll make this quick. Keep hiding, and everyone dies. Giovanni's response was another gunshot. Vincent laughed. Still your father's son. Stubborn to the end. Rosa gripped the wheelchair arms so hard her knuckles went white. This is my fault. All of it. No, Mara knelt beside her. This is their fault. Vincent's. Anthony's. They chose this. I should have stayed dead. Should have let them win. And let them turn Giovanni into a monster? Let them destroy everything you believed in. Mara shook her head. You survived 3 years of torture. Don't give up now. On the screen, Giovanni took cover behind a marble column. He was trapped, pinned down by 3 shooters. One moved to flank him. Rosa made a sound like a wounded animal. The flanking shooter raised his weapon. A shot rang out. The shooter dropped. Marcus, from across the room, lowering his smoking gun. Giovanni nodded thanks and moved, taking down another attacker. They're pushing toward the library, Elena said. Toward us. How long can this door hold? Mara asked. Against conventional weapons? Indefinitely. Against explosives? Elena's face was grim. Minutes. A new voice came through the speakers. Anthony. Vincent. The mother's not in her room. Neither is the nurse. Then find them, Vincent's voice carried fury. Tear this house apart. They're here somewhere. Rosa closed her eyes. When she opened them, something had changed. The fear was gone, replaced by steel. Elena, can I access the intercom from here? Mrs. DeLuca, you shouldn't. Can I? Elena hesitated, then nodded. Activated a panel. You're live to the whole house. Rosa wheeled herself to the microphone. Took a breath. When she spoke, her voice was weak but clear. Vincent.
Anthony.
This is Rosa DeLuca. The gunfire stopped. Sudden, shocked silence. I know you can hear me. I know you thought I was dead. Thought you'd won. Rosa's hands trembled on the wheelchair. But I'm alive. And I remember everything. Vincent's laugh crackled through speakers.
Rosa. Dia Rosa.
You should have stayed buried. You kept me buried for 3 years. In Lorenzo's house. In the basement where he used to meet with his lieutenants. Rosa's voice grew stronger. You thought isolation would break me. That I'd forget. That I'd give up. And yet here we are, Anthony said. Still alive. Still fighting. You're just like Lorenzo. Too stubborn to know when you've lost. I haven't lost. Rosa leaned closer to the microphone. Because I heard everything. Every meeting you held above my cell. Every plan you made. Every betrayal you plotted. And I remembered all of it.
Silence.
You're bluffing, Vincent said, but uncertainty crept into his voice. Am I? Let me tell you about the judge you bribed. Judge Harrison. You paid him $200,000 to dismiss the racketeering charges. Or about the shipment of weapons you moved through Newark last month. Or the 5 men you had killed to cover up the pension fraud. Rosa's words fell like hammers. I heard it all, Vincent. Through the vents. Through the walls. 3 years of your confessions, thinking no one was listening. She has nothing, Anthony said, but he sounded shaken.
No proof.
No evidence. Dr. Holloway has recordings, Rosa said calmly. Months of surveillance. Every crime. Every conspiracy. Enough to put you both away for life. Then we kill Holloway. Too late. He already sent copies to the U.S. Attorney.
To the FBI.
To every agency that's been trying to bring you down, Rosa smiled, though no one could see it. You're finished. The only question is whether you die here tonight or in a federal prison. Gunfire erupted again. Desperate now.
Panicked.
On the screens, Mara watched Vincent and Anthony's men turn on each other. Some trying to escape. Others fighting harder, knowing they had nothing left to lose. Giovanni used the chaos, moving through the estate like a ghost. Disarming. Subduing. Not killing, containing. He's not executing them, Mara breathed. He's choosing, Rosa whispered. Finally choosing. A massive explosion shook the panic room. Dust rained from the ceiling. They're trying to breach, Elena said. How long? Mara asked. One more blast like that, maybe. Another explosion. The door groaned, but held. Rosa's vitals spiked on her portable monitor. Her breathing became labored.
Rosa.
Mara checked her pulse. Racing. Irregular. Oh God, her heart. The stress is too much, Elena said. She needs her medication. It's in the other room. Mara looked at the sealed door. Going out meant death. Staying meant watching Rosa die. Rosa grabbed Mara's hand, pulled her close. Let me talk to him. You need rest. Let me save my son. Rosa's eyes were fierce despite her failing heart. One last time, Mara looked at Elena. Elena nodded, tears streaming down her face. Mara activated the microphone. Rosa's voice, weaker now, filled the house. Giovanni, my beautiful boy, can you hear me? On the screen, Giovanni froze.
Nana.
I need you to listen. One last time, Rosa fought for breath. This violence, this blood, it has to end. Not because I say so, but because you choose it. Mama, hold on. I'm coming.
No.
You're going to walk out. Unarmed. You're going to offer them
A choice.
prison or peace. They'll kill me. Maybe. Or maybe. You'll show them what real strength looks like. Rosa's grip on Mara's hand weakened. Not violence. Mercy. Giovanni's image on the screen stood motionless. Please, Rosa whispered. Be the man. I know you are. The monitor beside her flatlined. Mara's hands moved on instinct. Elena, get the crash kit. No, we don't have one. She tilted Rosa's head back, positioned her hands over her chest. Come on, Rosa. Not like this. Compressions. Steady rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe, damn it. On the screens, Giovanni was running, abandoning his position, sprinting through hallways filled with gunfire. Men shouted. Shots rang out. He didn't slow down. 15 compressions. 2 breaths. 15 compressions. Mara, Elena's voice broke.
No.
We're not giving up. Sweat poured down Mara's face. Her arms burned. She kept going. The panic room door groaned. Someone was trying to breach it from outside. Giovanni. Elena shouted at the monitor. They're at the door. Giovanni appeared on the screen closest to their location. He held something in his hands. Oxygen, a portable defibrillator. Where had he gotten it? Open the door, he shouted. They'll get in. Open it.
Now.
Elena's hands shook as she entered the code. The door hissed open. Giovanni burst through, followed by Marcus. Behind them, the hallway was chaos. Fighting, shouting, smoke. Giovanni slammed the door shut, sealed it. Move, he dropped beside Rosa, pulled out the defibrillator. Clear. Rosa's body arched. The monitor stayed flat. Again. Clear. This time, a blip. Another. The line found rhythm. Rosa gasped, her eyes flying open. Mama, Giovanni's voice cracked. He held the oxygen mask to her face, with trembling hands. I'm here. I'm here. Rosa's fingers moved weakly, touched his face. Her eyes found his, full of love, pain, pride. You came, she whispered through the mask. Always. Giovanni's tears fell freely now. Always for you. More explosions outside. The walls shook. Vincent's voice screamed through the intercom. I'll burn this whole house down. You hear me, Giovanni? Everything burns. Rosa pulled the oxygen mask down slightly.
Go.
Stop this. I'm not leaving you. You have to. Rosa's grip was surprisingly strong. Show them mercy. Even now. Especially now. Giovanni looked at her. At Mara. At Marcus and Elena. His family, not by blood, but by choice. He stood, picked up his gun. Then, with deliberate slowness, set it down. What are you doing? Marcus asked. What I should have done 3 years ago. Giovanni pulled out his phone, dialed. Saracen? This is Giovanni De Luca. I'm ready to make a deal. He walked to the door. Wait. Mara grabbed his arm. They'll kill you the moment you step out. Maybe. Giovanni's smile was sad. But my mother just died and came back for me. Least I can do is try to be worth it. He opened the door and walked into the smoke. Mara watched on the monitors, heart in her throat. Giovanni walked down the main staircase, hands visible, empty. Vincent and Anthony stood in the foyer, surrounded by their remaining men. Guns everywhere, pointed at Giovanni. Finally decided to die with dignity. Vincent sneered. No, Giovanni's voice echoed through the house. Decided to live with it. He stopped at the bottom of the stairs. Stood alone, unarmed. The feds are 3 minutes out, Giovanni said calmly. Marcus sent them everything. Every recording. Every document. Every crime you committed. He looked at each man. You can shoot me now. Kill everyone in this house. But the evidence is already in federal hands. You're done. Then what's the point? Anthony raised his gun. Why not take you with us? Because you still have a choice. Giovanni's words were steady. Die here like animals. Or surrender. Face trial. Face justice. Maybe even, he paused. Maybe even earn some dignity before it's over. Vincent laughed. You want us to surrender? After everything? I want you to choose something other than violence. For once in your miserable lives, Giovanni's eyes were steel. My mother survived 3 years of your torture. She's upstairs right now, alive despite everything you did. And you know what her first words were when she woke up? Silence. Mercy. She asked for mercy. For you, Giovanni's voice dropped. She's a better person than any of us deserve. So I'm going to honor her. I'm offering you a chance to live. Take it or don't. But if you pull that trigger, you prove she was wrong about everything. The house went silent except for distant sirens. Anthony's gun wavered. You're serious? I'm tired. Giovanni looked exhausted suddenly. Tired of blood. Tired of lies. Tired of being what you made me. He looked up toward the panic room, toward the cameras, toward Rosa. I want to choose something different, while I still can. Vincent spat. You're weak. Just like she made you. Yeah, Giovanni smiled slightly. Maybe I am. Sirens grew louder. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Anthony lowered his gun first. Then another man. Then another. Vincent stood alone, weapon raised, hands shaking with rage.
No.
No, this isn't. It's over, Uncle. Giovanni's voice was gentle. Let it be over. Vincent's gun dropped. He fell to his knees, suddenly looking ancient. Federal agents poured through the doors. 3 weeks later, Mara sat in the garden of the Hudson estate, watching the river turn gold in the afternoon light. Rosa lay in a hospital bed position by the windows, but it was different now. Not emergency equipment. Just comfort.
Support.
Rosa was dying. Peacefully this time. Her heart too damaged. Her body too worn. But she was smiling. Tell me about Lily, Rosa said. Mara pulled out her phone, showed photos. She drew you a picture. A nurse and a patient holding hands. She said you're a superhero. Smart girl. Rosa's eyes crinkled. Like her mother. Giovanni sat in the corner, out of his expensive suits now. Just jeans and a white shirt. He'd surrendered to federal prosecutors, turned state's evidence against what remained of the organization. House arrest until trial. Probably years in prison after. But his face looked lighter somehow. Younger. The prosecutor called, he said. With your testimony and Marcus's evidence, they have enough to dismantle 5 families. Biggest RICO case in decades. And you? Rosa asked. 7 to 10, probably. If I'm lucky, Giovanni stood, moved to her bedside. But clean time. No empire. No blood.
Just.
Consequence. Good. Rosa took his hand. That's good. Elena brought tea. Mara helped Rosa drink. I have something for you, Rosa told Mara. In the desk.
Anna?
Elena retrieved an envelope. Inside, a bank statement. Mara's eyes widened. Rosa, this is. For your daughter. College. Future. Whatever she needs. Rosa squeezed her hand. You took my hand when no one else would. This doesn't repay that. Nothing could. But it's a start. I can't. You can. You will. Rosa's voice was firm. Promise me. Promise me you'll take her somewhere safe. Somewhere clean. Give her the life I wanted for Giovanni. Mara's vision blurred with tears. I promise. Rosa closed her eyes, content. They sat in silence as the sun set over the Hudson. Marcus came by, paid his respects. Elena brought more tea. Guards stood distant, respectful. Giovanni held his mother's hand. Mara held the other. As darkness fell, Rose's breathing slowed, steadied, peaceful. I'm proud of you, she whispered to Giovanni. So proud. I love you, Mama. I know, she smiled. I always knew. Her last breath came with the evening stars. Giovanni didn't rage, didn't break down. He just sat, holding her hand, tears falling silently. Mara stood to leave, to give him privacy. But Giovanni shook his head.
Stay, please.
She'd want you here. So Mara stayed, bearing witness to the end of a woman who'd changed everything by refusing to die quietly, who'd saved her son by teaching him mercy, who'd rewritten the fate of an empire without ever pulling a trigger. 6 months later, Mara unlocked the door to a small house in Portland, Oregon. Nothing fancy, but it had a yard.
Trees. Space.
Lily ran past her, squealing about her new school, her new friends, her new room. Mara's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Thank you. For everything.
G.
She smiled and deleted it. That life was over. But sometimes, late at night, she thought about Rosa. About the woman on the bench who everyone ignored. About how one moment of compassion had toppled an empire and saved a man's soul. About how mercy, in the end, was the strongest choice of all. Mara locked the door, called Lily inside for dinner, and didn't look back.
The end.